The lightweight trainer or up-tempo trainer category is stacked in the year of 2025. So today we're going to be comparing two top-tier options, the Puma Velocity Nitro 4 versus the Adidas Adizero Evo SL. What's up everybody, I'm Eric McIntyre, aka Rad Dad Bod, and you're watching Rad Dad Bod TV, where we review running shoes. If it's your first time watching one of my videos, you may notice some timestamps below. Feel free to jump around to the various parts of this comparison, but if you do so, I'd sure appreciate if you come back, watch the full thing when you get a sec, because I put a lot of time and effort into these videos. Now, disclaimers and disclosures, I actually bought both of these shoes with my own money. That being said, I have received shoes from both brands before in the past for the purpose of review. That being said, I'm not paid for reviews, I'm not given talk tracks, talking points, I'm never obligated to make content. No one watches the videos beforehand, and all thoughts are entirely my own. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about the intended use of these shoes. The lightweight trainer category is going to be the kind of speed / daily training category, where they're supposed to be really the more versatile shoes on the market. So they tend to be lightweight, they tend to be responsive, but they tend to be comfortable enough to handle daily miles as well. But this is going to be a category that I think most people, especially if they're doing one shoe rotations, should be focused on. Now, from a price perspective, these shoes come in at $150 for the Evo SL, $140 for the Nitro 4, right? That's pretty typical for this range. $150 is kind of the top end you'll normally see for a lightweight trainer. Typically, I think $140 nowadays is probably going to be the lowest. Last year, the Velocity Nitro 3 was $135, I believe. So just with shoeflation, I don't think we're going to see prices like that in the future, but that's kind of where we're sitting for these. Then from a specs perspective, the shoes are actually fairly similar, at least in weight. So both shoes, or the SL comes in at 8.1 ounces, 230 grams. The Velocity Nitro 4 comes in at 8 ounces, 227 grams. So again, just 0.1 ounces difference between the two. And then the stack height, the SL comes in at 37 in the heel, 30.5 in the forefoot for a 6.5 millimeter drop. And the Velocity Nitro 4 is 34 in the heel, 24 in the forefoot for a 10 millimeter drop. So higher drop overall, lower drop overall, basically the same weight. A little bit more stack in the heel as well. Then from a fit perspective, the Evo SL fits a little bit short, and then I would say it's fairly standard throughout otherwise. I would say the toe box has a little bit of extra room though. Then the Velocity Nitro 4 is true to size lengthwise. And then I would say it's standard toe box, standard heel, but I would say narrow midfoot for the most part there. Now, if you've watched my reviews, you know that the Evo SL is my front runner for shoe of the year in 2025. I know that that is controversial to some, but I don't think it's controversial overall, given how many people would also probably put it in that category. However, the weak point of the shoe is going to be the upper, right? So where the Velocity Nitro could kind of win for some people is specifically in that upper. You have the breathable mesh, you have the power tape overlays, right? Which is that TPU overlay material. And then you have a nice cushioned heel, and a thin but gusseted, right, fully gusseted tongue, right? Meanwhile, over here you have an engineered mesh. You do have some just kind of basic overlays. You have a light cushion heel, thin tongue, not gusseted, and short, which is one of the big criticisms here. And then again, laces is kind of the other criticism you'll hear. The laces on the Evo SL just are kind of flimsy. So just head to head, Evo SL is going to be more breathable, a little bit more minimal. The Velocity Nitro 4 is going to be more plush, a little bit more comfortable, but warmer overall, right? So if you're looking for just comfort, if you're looking for lockdown as well, right? Velocity Nitro 4 is going to give you that. The Evo SL, the upper really is its largest weak point. The tongue kind of bunches up. It is a little bit short. It's hard to find your good lockdown in the shoe. But the shoe itself is breathable and very lightweight. So for me, the upper wasn't bad enough that it like DQ'd the shoe, but I also understand that if you have stability issues, a poor lockdown upper is going to kind of accentuate that, which brings us to those midsoles, because the midsole of the Evo SL, right, it is fairly unstable. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Just the general geometry, right, how some of the cutouts or how kind of the shaping of the shoe, it actually does potentially encourage some overpronation for those with stability needs, right, or stability issues. The midsole itself is a supercritical TPE. It's the Light Strike Pro, and then you have a carbon fiber shank, so just kind of a partial plate there in the middle to give a little bit more structure and stability, but the shoe, again, is still going to be very, very flexible. The foam underfoot is going to be a little firmer than the Velocity Nitro 4, but I find it to be more responsive, right? Meanwhile, over on the Velocity Nitro 4, you have the Nitro Foam, which I think is also a supercritical TPEE. It is going to be a lot more stable overall. And for the most part, it can handle all the same things as the Evo SL. I just find the Evo SL to be smoother and faster overall than the Velocity Nitro 4, right? If you have stability issues, Velocity Nitro 4 is going to be better for you. If you are fairly stable, you've got some strong lower limbs, right, then the Evo SL should be able to do the job for you as well. Pace versatility wise, I'm going to give it, I think they're equal for the most part, right? I can go long, I can go fast, I can go easy, I can go tempo, right? These are two of the more versatile shoes on the market. And I think that both do give the support from the foam, like the resiliency from the foam that you're looking for, where it's soft enough where easy feels okay, but it can firm up and it can get a little bit of pop or snap off the ground for that faster stuff. I would say where both of them are weakest is going to be these short, fast intervals, which makes sense. It's not really the focus of the shoes themselves, but for the most part, I think equally versatile. It's just it's a matter of, to me, I would race a marathon in the Evo SL. I wouldn't race a marathon in the Velocity Nitro 4. Still both very supportive. It's just that the Velocity Nitro 4 is going to be way more stable. Now, moving to the outsoles, this one's no contest as well, frankly. The Velocity Nitro 4, that Puma grip is top tier when it comes to outsoles. The Continental rubber historically has been really good for Adidas, but on the Evo SL, for whatever reason, it just didn't quite translate. So it is a little bit slippery and the durability is somewhat questionable. Meanwhile, the Puma grip, honestly, they probably could have shaved it down a little bit more and saved some more weight, which would have made you know, a noticeable difference, I think, in the shoe, but even then, phenomenal grip overall, really gets the job done. So I do give the grip and outsole edge to the Velocity Nitro 4, right? So, you know, again, my pick between the two, I'm going Evo SL still, and there's a number of reasons. One is the drop, the 10 millimeter drop versus, what was it, I think 6.5 millimeter drop. The 6.5 just fits my stride so much better, fits my foot so much better, and I don't need support or stability, and so that's kind of a non-factor for me when comparing the shoes. Yes, the upper and the grip of the Velocity Nitro 4 are arguably better than the Evo SL, but for me, the midsole of the shoe, the geometry, the way it flows on my foot is very, very special, and so despite those things, I go Evo SL, but 100% I understand why a lot of people would choose the Velocity Nitro 4 and why I think more people should give the Velocity Nitro 4 a chance. I don't feel like I heard a whole lot from people about the shoe. So anyway, if you watched this far, I sure appreciate you. Let me know in the comments what questions you have, what other comparisons you'd like to see, or just what I could be doing better as a reviewer overall. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, turn on notifications, and if you'd like to support the channel, please consider using my affiliate links in the description below. If you need any Wallaco gear, half tights, full tights, they also have jackets, half zips, tops, things like that. RadDad20 gets you 20% off. And then if you need any running fuel, any gels, any electrolytes, anything like that, RadDad gets you 10% off at checkout on fuelgoods.com. So lastly, I'm just going to wrap us up with a question, which is, what has been your favorite lightweight trainer of 2025? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks, everybody.